Ladies and gentlemen, pleasure begins where knowledge begins, and too many people still touch bodies they don't truly understand. You cannot unlock what you don't know how to access, and you cannot satisfy what you've never studied. Your body is not a mystery, it's a map, and science is the compass. The clitoris is not just a little bump, it's a complex, powerful network with over 8,000 nerve endings, and it exists solely for pleasure. The penis, with its 4,000 nerve endings and responsiveness to pressure, rhythm, and temperature, is not just for penetration, it's for connection. Pleasure is not gendered, and anatomy is not shameful, it is knowledge, and knowledge is erotic. People fake orgasms not because they want to lie but because they don't feel safe enough to speak. People accept less than they deserve because no one ever taught them they could ask for more. Every human deserves to be touched in a way that feels sacred, curious, and consensual. Communication isn't just sexy, it's survival. Most people never say what they want because they were never told it was okay to want. Desiring pleasure doesn't make you dirty, it makes you honest. Saying this is what I like should feel as natural as breathing. Learning your body is not selfish, it's self-respecting. When you masturbate, you're not sinning, you're studying. Every moan, every breath, every twitch is your body saying, here, right here. And if you don't know how to listen to yourself, how can you expect anyone else to? Too many partners rely on guessing, and guessing is gambling. Don't leave your pleasure up to chance. Don't leave your orgasm in someone else's untrained hands. If you don't know what you like, they're shooting in the dark. But when you know what works, and when you say it clearly, no shame, no apology, that's when sex becomes art. That's when it becomes language, not just motion. Sexual anatomy isn't just skin and nerves, it's emotion, it's history, it's vulnerability. The vulva is not down there, it's central to identity, power, and pleasure. The vagina is not a passive tunnel, it's active, reactive, intelligent tissue that deserves care and understanding. Arousal begins long before touching. It begins with curiosity. It begins when you say, I want to understand you, not just, I want to have you. Most people have sex, but not enough people explore. We are taught about fear, pregnancy, disease, morality, but not enough about joy. You are allowed to be both safe and wild, both informed and free. Anatomy is not just for textbooks, it's for lovers. The G-spot is not a myth, it's part of the urethral sponge, and it exists, and it matters. The prostate is not taboo, it's a pleasure center, rich in nerve endings, capable of intense orgasm. Everyone, regardless of gender or identity, has the right to explore their own landscape. The most powerful sex doesn't come from perfect bodies, it comes from confident ones. Not the kind of confidence that comes from praise, the kind that comes from presence. Presence in your own body, presence in your voice when you say yes just like that, or no, slower. Silence is not sexy if it's silence from fear. Your pleasure should never require you to be quiet. Your anatomy is not something to hide, it is something to honor. Letting someone into your body, without letting them into your truth, is a kind of betrayal to yourself. Intimacy without communication is just performance. Bodies were not made to perform, they were made to feel. Feeling begins with attention. Attention begins with learning. There is nothing more erotic than someone who wants to learn you. Not just touch you, not just take from you, learn you. The shape of your breath, the rhythm of your pleasure, the places where you come alive. Language is foreplay, eye contact is connection. Asking do you like this is not a weakness, it's emotional intelligence. Asking can I try something different is not insecurity, it's safety. And safety is the sexiest thing of all. Pleasure and safety are not opposites, they are partners. The more secure your body feels, the more it will open. The more open it feels, the more pleasure it will allow. If your body has been told it's dirty, it will need time to believe it's divine. But science tells us the truth. Your body is made to feel, made to respond, made to experience. There is no shame in arousal, no shame in hunger. The only shame is silence when there should be truth. Communication is not just talking, it's listening, it's observing. It's saying, what do you need, and meaning it. The clitoris isn't too sensitive, it's just rarely given proper attentive care. The foreskin isn't dirty, it's misunderstood. The cervix isn't off limits, it's just delicate, and it needs trust. Communication isn't just about dirty talk, it's about honest talk. It's about the courage to say, touch me here, and the compassion to hear, not like that. Real intimacy is built in the moments where we reveal, not perform. When we stop pretending, when we start exploring, when we remove the pressure to please and replace it with the desire to connect. There is no such thing as being too much when it comes to desire. There is no such thing as normal when it comes to what turns you on. Only what is consensual, safe, and true. The body speaks in pulse, in breath, in sound, and the more we listen, the more we learn. The more we learn, the more we grow. There is nothing embarrassing about asking questions. There is nothing wrong with saying, I don't know what I like yet. Curiosity is sexy, growth is sexy, openness is sexy. You are not born knowing everything, and that's okay, but you are responsible for learning. Every time you say what you want, you teach your partner how to love you better. Every time you say what doesn't work, you protect your body from resentment and disconnection. You do not owe anyone silence. You do not owe anyone a fake yes, and you definitely don't owe anyone an orgasm unless you want to give it. The most attractive energy in the bedroom is honesty. The most powerful thing you can do during sex is speak your truth. Because the truth is when we understand our bodies and communicate our needs, we are not just better lovers, we are free. Foreplay is not a warm-up, it is the experience. It is not what happens before sex, it is sex. It is not a detour, it is the road that leads to everything worth arriving at. Pleasure doesn't begin at penetration, it begins in the mind, in the breath, in the tension that builds, when anticipation is allowed to grow. Science has proven again and again that arousal doesn't ignite like a switch, it rises like a wave, and foreplay is the wind that moves it. The skin is the largest erogenous zone on your body, and every inch is waiting to be discovered, not rushed past. When you touch someone slowly, deliberately, with intention, you awaken nerves that have been sleeping under the weight of pressure, fear, and performance. The body remembers every slow kiss more than it remembers a rushed climax. The brain responds to teasing more than it does to instant satisfaction. We are wired for build-up, and foreplay is the art of becoming unforgettable through that build-up. There is no such thing as just foreplay, because for many, especially women, it is the primary path to orgasm. The clitoris, the nipples, the inner thighs, the lower back, these are not optional stops, they are essential destinations. When you ignore foreplay, you ignore science, you ignore connection, you ignore the emotional architecture of desire. The best lovers are not the ones who dominate, they're the ones who study every response, like it's sacred. Goosebumps are not accidental, they are the body saying more please. A shaky breath is not weakness, it is a confession. A soft moan is not decoration, it is feedback. Every sound, every shift, every pause is the language of pleasure, and foreplay is the moment you learn to speak it fluently. There is nothing more erotic than being touched like you're being learned. Foreplay is how you say, pleasure does not start in your genitals, it starts in your mind. The most sensitive sex organ in the human body is not between your legs, it's between your ears. The brain is the ignition switch, the control center, the storyteller of every sexual experience. Your body cannot feel what your mind does not allow. If your brain is flooded with anxiety, fear, shame, or self-doubt, no amount of touch can override that static. Desire cannot compete with distraction. Arousal cannot bloom in chaos. Orgasms cannot thrive under pressure. Your nervous system does not lie. It tells the truth of how safe, open, and present you feel. Stress is the silent killer of sexual connection, and the science is undeniable. Cortisol, the stress hormone, lowers sexual desire, slows arousal, and even blocks orgasm. You cannot hate your body and expect it to give you pleasure. You cannot judge yourself and expect to surrender. Your body hears every harsh word your mind speaks. Every time you look in the mirror and criticize, your nervous system contracts. Every time you compare yourself to a fantasy, your arousal fades. You cannot shame yourself into ecstasy. You cannot punish yourself into freedom. The brain craves safety before it allows desire. Safety is not just physical, it is emotional, mental, spiritual. To feel safe is to be relaxed. To feel relaxed is to be receptive, and receptivity is the foundation of pleasure. The brain and body are in constant conversation, and touch is only half the language. The other half is meaning. What does this moment mean to you? Do you feel wanted or used? Do you feel admired or tolerated? Do you feel seen or just looked at? The meaning your brain assigns to sex changes everything. It changes how wet you get. It changes how hard you get. It changes how deep you feel. It changes how far you're willing to go. When you are emotionally present, your body becomes an amplifier. But when you are emotionally guarded, your body becomes a wall. Science shows that trust increases sexual pleasure because the brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, when we feel emotionally connected. Oxytocin relaxes muscles, reduces pain, and increases orgasmic potential. But oxytocin cannot flow where fear is stuck. You cannot access your full pleasure potential if your mind is in survival mode. You need rest, softness, emotional safety to open fully. Mindfulness is not a trendy word. It is a gateway to sexual liberation. When you're in your head, worrying about how you look, how long it's taking, what your partner is thinking, you leave your body. When you leave your body, you leave your pleasure behind. Presence is power. Being fully here, fully now, fully inside the moment, is the key to unlocking every sensation your body has to offer. This is not philosophy, it's neuroscience. Attention heightens sensation. Focus amplifies touch. When you slow your breath, your nervous system tells your body it is safe. When you breathe deeply during intimacy, you increase circulation, stimulate the vagus nerve, and deepen orgasm. The brain's erotic map is shaped by experience, by imagination, by association. This is why fantasy is not cheating, it's chemistry. Fantasies stimulate the same regions of the brain as physical sex. Erotic imagination is not betrayal, it is expansion. Your mind is allowed to wander and explore, to create new pathways for desire. The more you mentally engage with sex, the more your body follows. The more emotionally present you are, the deeper your body lets go. The body doesn't fake anything. If it's not feeling it, it will tell you. Numbness is not failure, it's a message. Tension is not stubbornness, it's a boundary. Disconnection is not brokenness, it's information. Listen to your body, and you will hear your brain. Listen to your brain, and you will learn your body. The brain releases dopamine in response to novelty. This is why variety excites us. Trying something new, even slightly, can reignite passion and create stronger memory. The mind loves play, surprise, curiosity, but the brain also loves routine, the safety of familiarity. This is why the balance of novelty and trust is so crucial to long-term desire. Without trust, novelty feels unsafe. Without novelty, trust can feel dull. The strongest sex lives are not based on performance, they're based on attunement. Attunement means paying attention to how your partner's body changes in response to every touch, every breath, every whisper. Attunement is the brain's way of tuning in. Attunement is where intimacy becomes intelligent. The body follows the mind, and the mind follows the heart. Connection, not technique, is what creates unforgettable sex. Emotion is not separate from desire, it fuels it. When you feel emotionally understood, your body opens. When you feel emotionally dismissed, your body shuts down. Communication is not a buzzword, it's a neural signal. Every time you say what you want, you're helping your brain feel safe. Every time you're honest about what doesn't work, you teach your nervous system that boundaries are honored. This increases trust, which increases relaxation, which increases blood flow, which increases orgasm. Sexual pleasure is not a performance, it is a process of unlearning shame, of regulating stress, of choosing presence. The brain doesn't just store trauma, it stores joy. It stores the memory of every kiss that made you feel sacred, every look that made you feel craved, every touch that made you feel home. Your brain is the keeper of every erotic imprint. This is why healing is not just psychological, it's sexual. This is why touch can trigger, and it can also transform. The same brain that once shut down during sex can learn to light up again. The same body that once went numb can learn to feel again. Neuroplasticity is real. The brain rewires based on experience, on repetition, on safety. Your pleasure is not broken, it's waiting to be remembered. Your body is not unresponsive, it's waiting to be invited back into presence. You are not bad at sex, you are probably just too disconnected from yourself to enjoy it fully. There is nothing wrong with you if it takes time. There is nothing wrong with you if you need stillness first. There is nothing wrong with you if you need words, or space, or warmth to open. The mind needs meaning, the body needs permission. Together they create sensation. Together they create the kind of pleasure that heals, instead of hides, connects instead of distracts, fulfills instead of drains, honors instead of uses. There is no real pleasure without real safety. There is no freedom in the bedroom, unless boundaries are respected. Sex is not just about sensation, it's about responsibility. Your body is not a toy, and neither is theirs. Health is not separate from desire, it is what allows it to thrive. Safety is not the opposite of eroticism. It is the foundation that holds it up. You cannot relax if you feel at risk. You cannot open if you feel unsure. You cannot surrender if you feel unseen. True intimacy begins with consent, and consent is not a checkbox. It is a living, breathing, continuous agreement. Consent means asking without pressure. It means hearing no without injury. It means checking in, even when things are going well. It means knowing that silence is not a yes, that hesitation is not a yes, that I guess is never a yes. Consent is not just about legality, it's about dignity. It is the difference between being taken and being treasured. If someone cannot speak clearly, they cannot consent. If someone is afraid to say no, they are not truly free to say yes. Power without permission is violation. Touch without trust is trauma. Arousal without agreement is assault. The sexiest people in the room are the ones who ask, the ones who listen, the ones who say, "Do you like this?" and mean it. "Do you want to stop?" and honor it. "Can I continue?" and wait. Safety is not a mood killer, it is a mood creator. The body responds differently when it feels protected. The nervous system calms, the breath deepens, the heart opens, the orgasm becomes possible, not because you pushed, but because you built the right conditions for it to emerge. Sexual health is not a punishment, it is power. Knowing your STI status is not embarrassing, it is empowering. Getting tested is not something you do when you're scared, it's something you do when you care. Using protection is not a lack of trust, it is an act of care. Condoms don't ruin sex. Disrespect does. Ignorance does. Neglect does. If you can't have the conversation, you're not ready to have the sex. If you can't talk about risks, then your readiness is an illusion. Communicating about health is not just being safe, it's being sexy enough to be real. Birth control is not just a woman's responsibility. It is a shared, ongoing, educated choice. It is not just pills or IUDs. It is awareness. It is timing. It is accountability. Pulling out is not a strategy. Hoping for the best is not a plan. Mutual protection creates mutual peace, and peace is what makes room for wildness. Aftercare is not just for the kinky, it is for the human. It is for anyone who opens their body and heart and soul and is left raw after. Sex is intense, even when it's gentle. Sex stirs things up, chemically, emotionally, energetically. Aftercare is what brings you back to earth. It's what says, "I'm still here." It's what says, "That wasn't just about getting off, that was about connection." Aftercare is not optional. It is the bridge between the experience and the return. It is the part where you say, "How are you feeling?" and actually want to know. It is the part where you hold them while they shake, where you get them water, where you breathe together, where you say, "You're safe," not because something went wrong, but because something went deep. Aftercare is emotional first aid. It's nervous system regulation. It's respect in action. It's intimacy extended beyond climax. It's knowing that sometimes tears come after pleasure, that sometimes laughter follows intensity, that sometimes the soul needs to be held just as much as the body. If your partner walks away empty after sex, you've missed the point. If you walk away disconnected, you've misunderstood the purpose. Sex isn't just what happens during, it's how you are with each other after. It's how you land. It's how you make space for the full human experience. If you leave someone feeling used, you didn't have sex, you took something. If you feel discarded, that wasn't intimacy, that was extraction. Real sex is an exchange, a giving and receiving, a mutual release, a shared charge, and that charge needs grounding. That's what aftercare does. It grounds you. It reminds you that this wasn't just skin on skin, this was soul to soul. Health is the freedom to explore without fear. Safety is the invitation to go further, deeper, wilder, because you know someone's watching your emotional back. Aftercare is the proof that this was about more than pleasure. It was about presence. The best lovers don't disappear when the orgasm ends. They stay. They wipe tears if they fall. They stroke the hair. They check in hours later. They ask again the next day. They follow up, not just to be polite, but to be sure, because sex echoes. It stays in the body. It lingers in the nervous system. It vibrates in the chest. And if there's no aftercare, those echoes can turn to ache. But when there is aftercare, they become memory. They become anchor. They become warmth. You are not weak for needing reassurance after sex. You are not broken for needing to cry. You are not dramatic for needing to be held. You are not dramatic for needing to be held. You are nervous system. You are a body full of electricity. You are a spirit that just opened its gates. You deserve to be wrapped up in softness after you've been undone. You deserve to be checked on after you've said yes with your whole self. Protection is not about paranoia, It's about preparation. It's about saying, I love this body enough to honor it. It's about saying, I respect yours enough to keep it safe. Your pleasure doesn't need to come at the cost of your health. Your intimacy doesn't need to be reckless to be real. There is nothing sexier than someone who is deeply aware, someone who honors their needs, someone who honors yours, someone who isn't afraid to talk about hard things because they know what's at stake, someone who can talk about testing, boundaries, condoms, lube, triggers, comfort, safety, feelings, and still make you feel desired, still make you feel ravished, still make you feel worshipped. Because sex is not just penetration. Sex is not just orgasm. Sex is everything before, everything during, and everything after. It is conversation, preparation, imagination, affirmation, and restoration. It is care. It is clarity. It is responsibility. It is power used for healing, not harm. It is the fire that warms, not the one that burns. And that fire burns brighter when it's contained in trust, when it's protected by truth, when it's wrapped in respect, and when it's followed by tenderness.